Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Creative Lightroom. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make an amazingly quick, rounded rectangle border. Now, borders. I love borders. In fact, if you go back to episode 2, you'll see how I used the adjustment brush to make a hand-painted border effect. This border is a little bit different. This is a very predictable border. It's going to look the same every single time, and it has a beautiful roundness to the edges of your picture. Now, to do it, we're going to use Lightroom 5, although this could be used in previous versions of Lightroom in exactly the same way, and it is so quick to do. Let's jump into Lightroom 5 and have a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the effects. So I've already done my basic processing. I've got the picture the way I want it. Let's add in the border under effects. Except when you open up effects, there is no magic border option. It's not listed. It's actually called post-crop vignetting. Yep, good old post-crop vignetting that we use all the time. Normally we use post-crop vignetting to make our edges either brighter or more usually darker. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the amount and make it all the way down -100 as dark as it goes. Doesn't really look like a border at the moment, and it's going to get worse, I'm afraid, because now I'm going to take the midpoint and I'm going to bring that all the way down to 0. Yep, that is one very dark border. Next thing I'm going to do is take the feathering, and the feathering is how soft this edge is, and at the moment it's pretty soft, but I'm going to take it all the way down to 0, so it's very, very hard. So now we can really see how this post-crop vignetting actually works. That only leaves us one slider standing. That's the roundness slider. And if you increase the roundness, you'll find it gets, well, rounder. And if you decrease the roundness, it becomes more rectangular. And the more rectangular you make it, the further it goes to the edges until you end up with that lovely border when you have your roundness set to -100. So that's great, but what can you do to adjust it? Is that the only thing it can do? Well, there's not much you can do to adjust it, but there are a couple of little tweaks you can make. So for example, you might want to change the feathering. At the moment it's got a very hard edge. If we really zoom in close, you can see how hard that edge is. Well, I can tweak the feathering so it just softens it up a little bit. It's entirely up to you. I like it on a nice hard edge, so let's increase the feathering back to 0. Another thing you might want to do is you might want to change the midpoint. So if you want a thinner edged border, you can decrease the midpoint and it'll slowly disappear out towards the edges. You could also change the roundness as well, so that'll make your curves much larger, but of course you bite out a bigger chunk of your picture. Finally, you might want to change the border from black to white. And all you have to do to make that happen is change the amount from -100 all the way to the other end, +100, and now you have a nice white border around the outside. So what if you want to make that a little bit bigger? What if you want a bit more space around the outside? Well, you can do that too, but you have to jump into the print module to make that happen. So heading over to the print module here, what I'm going to do is make sure I'm on the single image contact sheet. So I've got an A4 sheet as it were, and this is sort of in the middle. And I'm just going to jump down to the layout option here, and I can change my cell size, and that will allow me to put a lot more space around the picture. So I can save that out or print that out with as much space around the picture as I want by moving that cell size bigger or smaller. Okay, so there you go. There's how you can create a wonderful rounded rectangle border effect in Lightroom in just a few seconds. Now, if you want to find out more about me, don't forget to visit my website at www.gavtrain.com or visit me again right here next week for another episode of Creative Lightroom. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.